Welcome to the Anika Apple Podcast. I'm Anika Apple, author, trusted advisor, and spiritual strategist, called to prepare leaders for a higher purpose, to help them reconnect to the truth within so that they can live a remarkable life. Here, leadership is sacred, community is essential, and healing is a collective act of faith. Together, we align with our divine authority to lead boldly and to live life to the full. Welcome. This is where transformation begins. Welcome back to the Anika Apple Podcast. I am so glad to have you here with me this week. And I am buzzing, if you cannot tell. I'm really excited because my upcoming book, Healing is Required, is in process and we are finishing the final touches on it. And I'm really excited about its upcoming launch. And with that, we thought there was no better way to support the book, to talk about the content, and to help you utilize the information in the book, but to add Healing is Required into our content here on the podcast. So what you can expect in the upcoming months is that we're going to be digging into different concepts that we have in the book, bringing on some experts to have some really good spirited conversation about what it means to do this healing work. My goal, as you will read in the book and have probably heard from me in the past, is to help all of us heal. I recognize that when we do the work to heal, we change the very dynamic of what society is. We transform our businesses, and most importantly, we strengthen the relationships between one another, the things that are most important to us in this world. We cannot move beyond the filter that we have. And our filters are impacted by the things that we have experienced in our life, which is great because you think about all the growth that you've experienced, and it also entails all of the places where we still hold unhealed conditions, old mindsets, and even behavioral patterns that were not created by us. So there is so much more to what we have the opportunity to heal. There is so much more to be released so that we can be the best and highest versions of ourselves. And there is so much more ahead of us when we lean into our purpose and actually deliver what it is that we came here to do. This book and this work is certainly a part of mine. So I am just really excited to be able to share that with you. And each month we talk about leadership, community, healing, and of course, deliver the divine guidance. And what I thought was a really appropriate way for us to have conversation about leadership is to talk about what happens when it doesn't work the way you think it should. There has been this message with me for the past couple of weeks around letting go. It was a big theme for us on the divine guidance, and that is where I think it really became front and center for me this month. But if I look back, the last several months have been about letting go. It's been releasing ways of behavior, my patterns of thinking, even creating new regimens that work better for this stage of life and time that I am in. And, I've been thinking a lot about the ways in which my healing has created all of this growth. It has created such an expansiveness of the way I show up, of how I feel about the content, what I'm sharing, how I'm teaching, how I'm leading. And there's another side to that too, which I don't know if we talk about enough. And quite honestly, when we are going through the process of healing and growth, we are absolutely going to experience some places where we bump into the walls, so to speak, right? Where we bounce into the discomfort of growing and changing in relationships where the other person may not be ready to embrace the person that you have become. I've watched this happen in a couple of different places in my life, in relationships and friendships, as well as in family, where as you're continuing to grow and you're testing and learning this, what is more authentic to you now that you know what you know about yourself, the other person might be going through their version of learning what they know about themselves too. And you can find yourselves in moments of friction. I think what I want you to know is that it is part of the path and it will be okay. And I know that that doesn't help to make it softer in that moment. It doesn't make it feel better. But I think what you can choose to hold for yourself as true is that, when we go through transformation, we're often thinking about the pain and things that we will go through, and we forget about the freedom that's on the other side. The image of the caterpillar turning into a butterfly immediately comes into view, right? Because if we think about it, the caterpillar has this journey and they're kind of going along in life, and then they are at the decision point where they enter the chrysalis, and they're going to go through the transformation. And that transformation is hard. And I'm sure the caterpillar wants to give up a lot as it's going through it, because there's so much pressure, there's so much struggle, there's so much wrestling. Think about the form of a caterpillar and what it looks like as a butterfly. There's a lot of work to transform from one state to the other. And if the caterpillar is only focused on the pain that it's going through in the moment, it won't ever get to become a butterfly. And I think that's the thing that you get to hold for yourself too, is that, yes, while you're healing, there is the discomfort, there is disconnect, there are relationships you're going to have to release, there are behaviors and things that may have felt part of the fiber of who you are that you will let go of, and you're going to be okay. And you will be all right, and you will survive it. You will move to the other side. You just have to trust yourself. You just have to choose that the evolution is worth it. And how do you know it's worth it? What can you put in front of yourself to say, like, I'm going to still keep going? Your purpose. I firmly believe that's why we have purpose inside of ourselves, because it is the compass that continues to point us due north to that best and higher version of ourselves. It's pointing us in the direction where we will go to embrace the dreams that we've seen about who we are. It helps us to remember to keep the image of the butterfly, the who we're becoming, in front of us. To remember that there's something that we are here to gift to others and to this world, and to know that it is worth it. So, and I will tell you this fact, because I know this as it is the wisdom that resides in my soul, is that before you came, you knew exactly what this life's journey would mean. You may not have known every, intimate detail of what would happen in every relationship, every date, and all of those things, but you knew the things that you came here to learn and the things that you came here to teach. And so when you're in those moments where we're transforming from the caterpillar into the butterfly, you knew it would be tough. You knew it would be painful, and you said yes. And if you hold that as true, it can only mean one thing, which is what you saw on the other side of it, the growth, the transformation, that life of your dreams, your remarkable life, that it was worth it. Because otherwise, there's no way you would have said yes, right? So holding that as true, we can allow ourselves to accept the fact that as we're going through the challenges that we experience, as we're growing, those relationships, the pruning that we experience, all of the things that come with transformation, that's all part of the process. And I encourage you right now, if you're thinking of some relationships where it's been really rocky lately, to just recognize and know that there is discomfort that comes in this time. And it's not just about you changing, but it's also about the other people around you evolving and changing too. We are in a really significant time of change right now across the entire globe. And I just don't believe that there are people who are not impacted by it. Some of us can really feel the depth of energy, the heaviness of the collective, the things that we're going through. And we are working our way through it. We're trying to make sense of it, right? And even with all of that we're going through, there's a recognition that everyone's experience is not the same. So I might be navigating the change and I see it from a different perspective from others based on where I am in my personal journey and the decisions that I've made. The alignment that I have with the divine has a lot to do with that, with how I'm navigating this season. So I really encourage you to look at the practices that you have put in place and how you deepen your connection to the truth within so that you can move boldly and confidently forward, knowing that all is well and that you are on track. Knowing that creating space for others to have their time to decide on how they want to navigate their transformation is their right, and it's not about you. If there is one message that has really been very salient for me in the past, I'm going to say month and a half, it has been about not taking things personal. And right behind me somewhere on the bookshelf is the Four Agreements. And I actually have 2 copies, probably at some point have had 3. And it's a book I recommend to people talk about. And I recently reread the chapter on not taking things personally because I saw myself feeling that. And it came up for me significantly in this moment of healing, this massive thing that I have been moving through over the last several months. And I recognized like it was coming up over and over again. And what I've learned about healing is that it's not about the other person. There's stuff that they might have going on with them, but what you're really seeing, what is really impacting you, what stays with you, what you ruminate about, like it is trying to show you something. It's trying to tell you something. It's trying to get your attention so that you can open yourself up to heal. And so I sat with this and really said, like, what is it about this that is creating discomfort for me? Why am I taking this so personally? And I remember at some point in prayer, I was saying to God, but it is personal. And of course it is. Because if it wasn't personal, it wouldn't have the impact on me. There's a difference between the things happening so that I can become who it is I'm intended to be, and you needing to take it personal as if what someone is doing is an intention to harm you. That's a flip in perspective. We're flipping the filter there, right? Where we recognize that because of whatever is happening, it's giving you the opportunity to see something within yourself that you have the opportunity to change. What I know to be true in my journey, and I believe it to be so in yours as well, is that when you get these repetitive things over and over, it is trying to show you that this thing is going to be a key for you in order to be successful for the long term as you move into your next. So what could happen to me if I always took things personally, if I didn't release and move through the things that were coming up that needed to be seen, witnessed, and healed? It would impact. For me, in my role and what I'm here to do in the world, it would definitely stymie my ability to be able to do what it is that God has ordained for me to do. It's that simple. And you have your versions of this as well. So leadership looks like making the decision to heal. It looks like making the decision to recognize that when things are coming up over and over again, there might be things that the other person has the opportunity to work on should they choose it. And it's their right to choose. But you get to make a choice in response to whatever decision they're making or not. And you own the choice that you make, good, bad, or indifferent. And you get to make those choices without judgment, knowing that as long as you make the decision that you believe is best today, that's enough. Sometimes that's all we have, right? And that you can make a new decision tomorrow. If you find there's new information that leads you to desire to do something else, that's also within your purview. You get to do that. So hold a little bit less tightly to the decisions and things that you're making during the time of transformation. Allow yourself to iterate, allow yourself to feel the discomfort, allow the things that are coming up for you to heal, to be witnessed, and then just make the decision to move through it. One of the things that came up a couple days ago as I was sitting with God is that breakthroughs happen when we are in the hard place doing the hard thing. And I think that will become one of those things, if you have your list of your quote board or whatever, your list of like key quotes as you move throughout your life. It was so salient to me, and it's so true. When we are in those deep moments in the valley, in the despair, in the frustration, and all of that, it is preparing us for the breakthrough. And we have the opportunity when we're in it. Like, I think sometimes people are like, but how do I get out of this? We have the opportunity when we're in it to embrace it. And I don't know, I can't tell you that every single time it is going to help you move through it quicker, but I know it will become more easeful because you surrender to it. You surrender to whatever it is that you are there to learn and experience. That doesn't mean you have to take your eyes off of the top of the mountain, the place that is the goal for you. But it does mean allowing yourself to witness you in the moment. There are often a lot of gifts in those moments when we are in the valley, when we were in the hard place doing the hard thing. You know, a lot of people talk about resilience and how that is born, how we see it, how we get to witness it when we're going through trials and tribulations. We also get to see the hand of the divine. We get to see how loved we are. When we open ourselves up for help and support, we get to see how people rally around us. One of the things that's been really salient for me is that I've had people just reaching out, just checking in. Just because. Not knowing what's going on, not knowing what I've been navigating, just because. And there's something really special about that because this is a divine tapping in. It's a divine connection, right? Where I've not even said, hey, here's what I'm navigating through. It's like, they just know. And the beauty of having a tribe who's connected in that way is that they don't need the details. They're not asking you for the play-by-play. They don't need all this stuff. They just want you to know you are loved. And what better place to feel the genuineness of love but in the valley? Because at the top of the hill, at the top of the mountain, when everybody has recognized how amazing and awesome you are, everyone will know. But in the moments where you're weathering the hard stuff, where it's hard even for you to remember, being able to see, witness, and embrace and feel that love, that outpouring of support means everything. You learn a lot when you're in the valley, when you're in the hard place, doing the hard thing. What's one thing I learned is that I don't want to do it alone. I've spent so much of my life being the person, positioning myself intentionally to be the person who could solve problems for other people. And at the same time, who would not allow myself to be seen in order to receive that kind of help and support. So much so that I've made it difficult for people in the circle to even know when I need it. I'm so glad that I have grown. I'm so glad that I've opened myself up to receive in ways that I just couldn't have before. And I recognize that it's not just simply the help that has transitioned this part of my life, but it's my openness to receive that's creating space for abundance. I did not think that trying to do things by myself was in somehow stopping me from abundance, but it absolutely was. And I know that if any of that is resonating for you, it is something you'll want to look into. The last thing I wanted to share with you today is a bit of a story. And, you know, we talk about this transformation and breakthrough, and really more than anything, that the lessons, the experiences that you're going through are preparing you for what is to come. So in this journey of starting my own business, I have definitely embraced iteration. And iteration for me is like, it reminds me of some of the roles that I've had on some of the teams in the corporations that I have worked in, where we really prioritize being innovative, and we're always looking and thinking about how we went up, whether it was service, it was a particular product or product line. It's like, what else can we do to surprise and delight the consumers? Like all of these things. And that may sound funny for you, for those of you who are like, you were in HR for half of your career. Yes. And still, as a part of leadership teams, you are deeply in the strategy, right? As much as I was when I was in general management and when I ran, a market for a large beverage company. And in all of those experiences, like innovation and thinking more broadly and planning for the future was a part of it. And somehow, when I transitioned into running my own business, I decided that when I decide something that I was going to work at it until it was perfect, and then I was going to launch it, and everything was going to happen exactly the way that I thought it would. You already know where I'm going with this, right? And it's so funny because I have wrestled with a couple of different things in the business. One of the things that definitely came up for me is like this energy around perfection. And for those who've been through like Redefine Your Reality with me, like you've heard me talk about this. Like that perfectionism is such a huge hindrance, and it speaks to even the thing about asking for help and all of that. It was definitely not just a behavior to change, but something within that needed to be healed. It's like, what happens if you just show your hand and know that it's enough and that you can make it better the next time? There's something really big in there for people who wrestle with that. And I am one at the front of the line with that list, right? And so recently I launched a program, and I had a good friend of mine reach out, and they're like, how's everything going with the program? Like, how is it going with your registration and all of that stuff? And I was like, it's not. And I'm sharing this with you because this is such an important lesson. I could have chosen to be really disappointed at the outcome. I think we put together something that really solves a need that is pertinent in the moment. And it's designed with the, core customer in mind. And we, did some of, maybe not all, but some of the things that I know to do to promote something and ensure that it is successful. And it just didn't get there. And I was reflecting back on it, and could immediately start to identify things to do better or different the next time, just immediately. And I chuckled to myself because instead of being disappointed in the outcome, I was more looking at like, what could I have done better or different, right? Obviously, because I own it. I'm responsible for it. And I recognized something really big as I was going through this process. So I was kind of doing like my own one-on-one after action review, and then sharing that with the team and getting their feedback as well. But here's the thing. Probably about maybe 6 or 8 months ago, I was in prayer with God, and God said to me that this was a season of preparation. The other thing that God told me very, very clearly is that this time was really important for testing and learning and for filling the holes in the boat. What does that mean? This is about making sure that the infrastructure, the foundation for what I'm building is exactly what it needs to be. And let me be clear, exactly what it needs to be does not mean perfect. It means based on what I know today, who I serve today, what things it is that I am offering, that those things are really clear. That whatever the experiences I want people to have, I've thought through all of those pieces and I've worked through it. That I'm identifying the places where I have strengths and where I have opportunities. That I'm identifying the places where the business has strengths and where it has opportunities. This is that season. And so what hit me the other day as I was navigating through this is like, oh, I see what's happening here. There's a couple of things for me to recognize in this moment. One is that there is still a plan here for me to test and know what works and what doesn't. There's still something here for me to explore around my reservations for doing some of the activities that I know should be a part of a really solid launch. And as I started doing that exploration, something huge came up for me. I recognized the thing that was in the way, and it was not in the business. It was not a part of the program. It was not that there was not visibility. It was none of those things. It was me. My relationship to this particular aspect was the thing that had all of the impact. And when I realized what that thing was, again, I chuckled. Because as someone who does this work for a living, helping people move past their own perceived limitations, I was staring my own limitation in the face. I have for a really, really long time been someone who looked for external validation and all of these things. And I have gone through a lot of healing around this. And I actually really like the place where I sit today, where I can appreciate it when it comes, but I'm good without it. I've grown so much in my identity, and I continue to grow. I know what it is that God has called me to do, and I say what it is that God tells me to say. As a matter of fact, I didn't plan to share this particular story at all. And then God told me right before I came to do the broadcast today, you will share this story. And I didn't know how I would talk about it. I'm being led even as I share this right now. But the reality is, even as I am sharing it with you in this moment, I can hear what I say to my clients all of the time, which is, wherever you go, there you are. So this relationship with rejection, with being discounted, which is rooted in worthiness, scarcity, and fear, came up. That was the thing that was standing in the way of me doing all of the things to allow this program to be birthed in the way that it deserved. And I share this with you because this is what leadership looks like. As leaders, sometimes we make decisions and we don't do all of the things in the way that we know we need to. We don't own up to all of the pieces publicly about what we've chosen. But the time that we are in requires leadership to look like this, where you can say, yeah, I messed this up. And I did it because I recognized there was something else for me to heal that I hadn't done yet. And so as you hear me say that and you think about yourself in relation to the business that you run or the ministries or whatever it is that you are responsible for, if you think about yourself having to look at your team, at your stakeholders, at your congregation and saying, yeah, I messed this up because there was something I was supposed to heal and I didn't. If that feels uncomfortable to you, then there is no other CTA you need to hear for the rest of the month of July. That is the thing you need to move on right now. Because if you don't do the work to address that particular thing, it is going to stand in the way. I can build the best programs and put out the most phenomenal marketing, hire the best branding marketing experts in the world. And if my relationship to this thing does not change, I will never be able to overcome it. Every time I've identified a major block like this in my life, every single time, when I work on that thing, I address it, I heal it, whether through therapy, through support, like from my advisors, spiritually, however it is that I am led to heal that thing. When I do it, there is always a breakthrough. There is always something big that comes on the other side. So what I can tell you, because you are my extension of the team, because I'm pouring into your life, your business, your work through this podcast, right? What I commit to you is that I am going to continue to work through it because it deserves to be healed. I want to, and I choose to heal it. And I also want to be an example for you to see and know that I've been where you are, I've been where you've been, and I'm going where you're going. And we will all get there together, not by ignoring and minimizing the things that come up for us all the time, but actually doing the work through it when it happens. So as I said earlier, breakthrough happens because we're in the hard place doing the hard thing. We are the caterpillars in the chrysalis, navigating through the discomfort of looking at all of the ooey gooky whatever stuff that metamorphosis process calls us to explore. And if we can choose to see the beauty in it, if we can choose to embrace it, if we can choose to allow ourselves to go through it, we will be able to spread our wings and fly on the other side. So I would say to you, cheers to your breakthrough. I am definitely sending up so much love to you as you navigate the things that are ahead. For myself, I will be here sharing my healing journey, talking to you about how we heal as a collective, why it matters, bringing experts to you that can share their expertise and how they've done it, how they support others to navigate through it, what they know is important in this season and beyond, so that you have the support and resources available to you at your fingertips to get what you need so that you can heal. Ideally, each and every one of us, in whatever way we are called to serve in the world, whatever way our gifts are to be used, want to be in position so that the best version of ourselves is here and ready to go. And we can't get there if we are unwilling to do the work to heal. And part of that is owning what is needed. Before I close, I would be remiss if I did not share with you one of the offerings in my business, which is the Soul to Crown, Crown to Soul intuitive guidance sessions. These sessions are absolutely incredible. My clients always come away with such incredible insight and confirmation of what they already know. Part of what I hold dear is helping people really deeply connect to the truth within so that they can trust their own voice. I always say to my clients, my goal is to work myself out of a job with them, because the reality is you actually have what you need within you. In the same way I was able to sit back and reflect and say, oh, I see what's coming up here. This is a relationship that you have to rejection. And where does that come from? And to diagnose that myself, you have the ability to do it too. Sometimes we just need some help and support to remember how to tap into it. And sometimes, quite honestly, and you may have heard me say it before, but I will say to God, sometimes I just need to hear it through a human. I just want to hear someone else's voice other than yours pouring through me. I just want to confirm it. I want to wrestle with it. I want to battle with it. And I want somebody else to be there with me as I do it. That's the role that I play in Soul to Crown, Crown to Soul. These sessions look like you coming in with questions that you have, with clarity that you desire, for insight that you have received on your own, or just allowing it to flow through me as we go through the session. If you like more information about Soul to Crown, Crown to Soul, you can check the link down below in the show notes and set up a discovery call. Let's have a conversation about what's going on for you in your business, in your life that you can use support with. I'd love to tell you about how I can be one of your potential solutions. And before I go, I will also invite you to check out our waitlist, the Insiders Club for Healing is Required. So that is the name of my upcoming book. You can go to healingisrequired.com and sign up on the waitlist there. You can do it on my website at anikaapple.com. Thank you for tuning in for this week's episode, and I can't wait to see you again next week. As always, peace and blessings. Remember that you were created to lead with purpose and power. It's time to step into your calling. Honor what's sacred within you and let your life be the healing the world needs. Until next time, and as always, peace and blessings. If you'd like to learn more about the work that I do or to connect for a chemistry call, visit AnikaApple.com.